Barcelona are finally back. They've had one of their best ever starts to the season, not only winning almost every single game, but also doing so in style, with beautiful attacking football, scoring goal after goal after goal. It is no surprise that they're first in La Liga, and in the Champions League, Barcelona confirmed what kind of form they're in with their 4-1 win against Bayern Munich. It was the first time in a long while that Barcelona had won a big European game in such fashion. It is looking more and more like Barcelona are actually becoming their old selves again. But now, Hansi Flick and his players are about to face their toughest challenge yet, Real Madrid. Real Madrid themselves are also having a good season. They're only 3 points behind Barcelona in La Liga, and they just come off the back of a huge Champions League win as well, after having beaten Dortmund 5-2. This edition of El Clasico is truly one to look forward to. But if you ask me, Barcelona will probably win it. And in this video, we'll see why that is. So let's just get right to it. Okay, first and foremost, we just have to acknowledge what kind of form Barcelona are in right now. Barcelona at the moment not only have a perfectly functioning system, every player individually is just playing to his potential as well. If you talk about the general system, Barcelona are obviously a well-oiled machine right now. The midfield works great with Pedri and Marcasado in that double pivot. Hansi Flick has actually found a way to replace Sergio Busquets, something Xavi has never really been able to do last season. The system is slightly different, but Marcasado's role is kind of similar to Busquets' role back in the day. Pedri, on the other hand, is just a metronome of this Barcelona. He dictates the play. He was instrumental against Bayern Munich. Without him, Barcelona just wouldn't have won that game as easily as they did now. They maybe wouldn't have even won it at all. On top of that, Barcelona's attack is probably the scariest attack in the world right now. Tactically, this attack is really just perfectly balanced. There are players who make runs, and there are players who make the play and pick out passes. Lewandowski, Rafinha, they make the runs while Lamine Yamal, Marcasado and Pedri can play those through balls. Bayern Munich's defense got ripped apart exactly in that way. So from a tactical point of view, this attack already makes perfect sense, but if you add to that what kind of form these players are in right now, it only gets scarier. Rafinha and Lewandowski especially, they just finish every chance that they get these days. So Barcelona not only create a lot of chances, they also finish them off clinically. Barcelona at the moment are an absolute machine. That in itself already makes them slight favorites against Real Madrid. But now you might be thinking, Real Madrid have a better defense than Bayern Munich. They don't play with the same high line, and Rudiger and Militao are a really strong center-back duo. Well, Real Madrid are probably more solid defensively than Bayern Munich. That might be true. There is, however, one crucial weak area in Real Madrid's defense right now. The right back position. Dani Carvajal is out injured, and without him, Real Madrid don't even have someone who's nearly as good at right back as Carvajal. In his absence, Lucas Vazquez usually plays in that position, and while Lucas Vazquez is certainly decent in attack, he does leave more space defensively, and he doesn't have the same kind of experience that Carvajal does. He's almost like Real Madrid's own Sergi Roberto, the versatile player from the own academy who can play at right back, but he will never play in your strongest possible 11. Now, I didn't say these two are as good as each other, Lucas Vazquez might be better, but they're just similar in terms of background story and player profile. Anyway, Real Madrid's right back spot without Carvajal is a big weak point. Against Dortmund, we saw that as well. Dortmund's second goal came after Jamie Gissens was able to run into a space that would usually be covered by Carvajal. Lucas Vazquez just isn't as sharp while defending. And here's the interesting thing. What Barcelona player do you think will run into those spaces during El Clasico? You guessed it. Rafinha. I would honestly not want to be Carlo Ancelotti right now because that is a scary prospect to look forward to for Real Madrid. With the kind of form that Rafinha is currently in and with what we saw him do against Bayern Munich, Real Madrid have a big problem in the area of the pitch. This is basically where Barcelona might win the game. And there's even more, because the right back position isn't the only position where Real Madrid are weakened by injuries right now. The same goes for their goalkeeping position. Thibaut Courtois is out injured, so Real Madrid cannot rely on their number one goalkeeper. But let's be real here, Lunin has actually proven to be a reliable goalkeeper last season, and Barcelona just have the same problem, if you think about it. We are missing Ter Stegen, but here's the issue. Barcelona's second goalkeeper, Iñaki Peña, isn't as reliable as Lunin is for Real Madrid. Iñaki Peña is often quite shaky, he lacks confidence, and last season, he single-handedly cost Barcelona points in La Liga due to some mistakes. So before I jinx anything, I will just stop addressing the goalkeeping situation at both teams. By now, it is pretty clear that Barcelona have some huge advantages coming into this game. Realistically, they'll probably score 2, 3, or even more goals if you think about Barcelona's current attack and Real Madrid's current defense. The question is, can Barcelona actually keep a clean sheet on the other end of the pitch? And well, the answer is, they probably can't. Real Madrid will definitely score one or multiple goals as well. And why? Well, Barcelona's playing style is just very risky. They play with a high line, which automatically means that you leave a lot of space in behind the defense. Against Bayern Munich, we saw how Barcelona got exposed a few times, and that is also how Bayern Munich scored their goal. But here's the problem for Barcelona. Bayern Munich play in a similar way to Barcelona. They also left a lot of room in defense, so in that game it was all about who was more precise in their passing and finishing. Barcelona were sharper overall and more efficient in front of goal, so they won the game. Real Madrid, however, will play more defensively. That means Barcelona won't have as much space in attack as against Bayern Munich, while Real Madrid will be looking to make use of the space Barcelona leave in behind. In the worst case scenario, Barcelona have quite a hard time scoring goals and end up scoring only 2 goals for example, while Real Madrid just make use of all that space and score 5 or 6. But that probably won't happen, and here's why. First of all, Barcelona have one huge defensive weapon, the offside trap. Against Bayern Munich, most of Bayern Munich's attacks were actually completely ineffective just because someone was offside. The same goes for Barcelona's game against Villarreal earlier this season. Villarreal were actually great in that game. They played at a high pace, they created a lot of chances, but most of their chances and goals got disallowed because of the offside trap. So Barcelona might play with a high line and it often looks risky when you're looking at it, but it is really just a great example of how to defend using the offside trap. These defenders are phenomenal at knowing exactly when to be in what position to put the attackers in an offside situation. And here's also an important detail. Barcelona often play with the same back four this season. Koundé, Pau Cubarsí, Íñigo Martínez and Balde. These 4 have great chemistry with each other, so the quality of the offside trap might actually be improving with every game. That's why against Real Madrid I wouldn't be surprised to again see some disallowed goals. But still, the prospect of playing with a high line against Mbappé and Vinicius is just scary. What tells us that Barcelona will actually be able to keep them under control? Well, Barcelona's #1 defensive weapon. Having the ball and temporizing the play. It sounds straightforward, but Barcelona's best way to keep Real Madrid's attack quiet is probably just by not losing the ball in dangerous areas and winning it back high up the pitch. And you guessed it, those are things that Barcelona have improved at enormously under Hansi Flick. First of all, recovering the ball back high up the pitch. If Barcelona can get this right against Real Madrid, it's game over. This season, Hansi Flick has really made sure to make Barcelona put pressure as one collective team, and it often works really well. Rafinha, Lamine Yamal, Fermin Lopez, Marc Asado, Gavi, they're all players who can win a ball back quite easily. They're all sharp while defending. That's something that Barcelona lacked in some games under Xavi, and definitely before Xavi. Besides that, it's all about temporizing the play. Barcelona, when having the ball, need to not rush things and just maintain possession to keep the game under control. That way, you completely neutralize the threat of Mbappé and Vinicius. And the interesting thing is that Barcelona's current team are just phenomenal at doing this. Against Bayern Munich, especially in the second half, we saw how Barcelona just controlled the game through possession. They didn't panic, they just patiently dominated the game. That's something that Barcelona didn't have as much under Xavi. Under Xavi, there was more panic, especially in big games. Hansi Flick seems to have really emphasized how important it is to stay calm and keep control once you're in a comfortable lead. So once Barcelona have the ball, with likes of Pedri and Lamine Yamal especially, they will probably be able to keep it and to control the game. There will be nothing Real Madrid can do about it. Sure, players like Fede Valverde and Camavinga are great at recovering the ball, but wouldn't you say the same for Kimmich and Palhinha at Bayern Munich? Pedri is probably the most press-resistant midfielder in the world. This is why he's so crucial. He helps you have that control. If you see it this way, you could actually say that Pedri is the reason why Barcelona will be able to contain Vinicius and Mbappé. But the same goes for Marc Asado, Lamine Yamal as well. His press resistance is incredibly underrated. Even the defenders, who are all really composed on the ball. Barcelona's general press resistance is astonishing. So long story short, Barcelona just have multiple huge advantages coming into this game. There is the current attack that works perfectly from a tactical point of view and where every player is individually in great form as well right now. On top of that, Real Madrid have a weak spot at right back that Rafinha might be able to make use of. However, you would think that Real Madrid can also make use of the space that Barcelona leave in behind their defense. But because of how effective Barcelona's offside trap has been, and because of how well Barcelona have been able to just control games, Barcelona might actually be able to deal with Real Madrid's attack quite well. So if I had to predict a score, I would probably still be cautious and just say that Barcelona are going to win by 2-1. But I wouldn't be surprised to see Barcelona score more goals given their current attacking form. Real Madrid do have the home advantage of course, but honestly in El Clasico it often feels as if that doesn't really make too much of a difference. But I also have to say that we're talking about Real Madrid here. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Barcelona play really well with a 3-1 lead and to see Real Madrid come back to 3-3 in the last 10 minutes of the game. Real Madrid might be the toughest team in the world to beat, so Barcelona will have to be sharp all game long if they want to pull off a win. Just making this kind of video is risky as well, against any possible opponent really, let alone Real Madrid. the team that is known for pulling off impossible comebacks. This is probably Barcelona's biggest test yet. They are probably slight favorites footballing wise, but that will only matter if you can go and play with the necessary character to beat Real Madrid at the Bernabeu. But I trust Barcelona. These players have been playing with a lot of heart under Hansi Flick, and if there is one version of Barcelona in the last 5 years that I would bet my life on, it would be this Hansi Flick Barcelona team. So Hansi Flick, Barcelona, it is time to pull off the biggest win yet of this season. So that was it for today's video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed it, and feel free to share your own opinion in the comments down below. And of course, Força Barça, and have a good day.